Hola chicos y chicas, in this video you are going to learn about infinitives and how to use them with the phrase me gusta. Okay, so first of all, what is an infinitive? We gotta know what that is in order to figure these things out. Alright, so an infinitive is the most basic form of a verb. This is a question that I will ask you many times throughout this year, so make sure that you know the definition of an infinitive. And it's an unconjugated verb, and we'll talk more about conjugation as the year goes on. But let me give you an example in English. In English, an infinitive example would be the verb to be. Okay, it's not yet been conjugated, which means that it hasn't been taken from its original form. Okay, so conjugating the verb to be in English would be like saying I am, you are, he or she is. Okay, I haven't done that yet. I'm just leaving it in its most basic form, to be. I don't want to say I be, okay, that's what conjugating does, but for right now we're not learning how to conjugate verbs quite yet. Okay, so to be is an example of an infinitive in English, and it's unconjugated, which means it hasn't been taken into these different forms yet. In English, all infinitives start with the word to. Okay, so it's always going to be to and then whatever it is. To run, to practice, to eat, to breathe, to play, to swim. All of those are infinitives in English, and it's an unconjugated form of the verb. Okay, if I were to conjugate this, it would go into I run, you run, he or she runs, etc. Okay, so all infinitives in English start with the word to, to. In Spanish, there are three different types of infinitives because we don't have the word to in front of our words in Spanish. We have endings that indicate what type of an infinitive it is, and this is going to be important when we do start to conjugate. So there's three types of infinitives. There's AR, ER, and IR, and these are determined by the ending of the verb. So for example, hablar is an AR verb, and it means to talk, and it's AR because it ends in AR. We have others, lots of AR verbs in this unit. We have usar, to use, preparar, for to prepare. Okay, so all of these are examples of AR verbs. ER verb is the next most common type, like leer and hacer and comer. All of those are ER verbs because they end, the last two letters are ER. IR verbs are the least common type, and for right now we only know one IR verb, and that is escribir. As we go along in Spanish, we will learn additional IR verbs, but like I said, there's most of AR verbs. ER verb is the next most common type, and IR verbs, there's a lot less than the other two. Okay, so those are my three types of infinitives, AR, ER, and IR. And when I want to talk about what I like to do, I am going to use a form of gusta. In this case, we're just going to start with me gusta plus an infinitive, one of those unconjugated verbs. For example, me gusta leer. I like to read. I'm just going to keep this in its most basic form because I'm saying to read. I like to read. Okay, me gusta is for I like. No me gusta estudiar. I don't like to study. Okay, so I've just added no in front of my verb, which remember, I can do that to make the sentence negative. No me gusta estudiar. I don't like to study. For this unit, we do have some food words that we're going to be learning. But for this unit, I would like you to please, whenever you're talking about foods you like to eat or beverages that you like to drink, please include the words comer and beber in your sentences. And that's because when we learn more about food words in a future unit, we're going to talk about some different ways to use gusta. So I'd like you to use comer and beber in your sentences so that you're using gusta with an infinitive. So for example, me gusta comer el helado. I like to eat ice cream. I'd like you to say that instead of just I like ice cream, instead of me gusta el helado. No me gusta beber la leche. I don't like to drink milk. Again, I'd like you to have that word to drink when you're talking about eating and drinking so that you can use these sentences correctly in the future. All right, so for the most part, we are going to be answering the question in this unit, ¿Qué te gusta hacer? That's the topic of our unit. So I'm going to tell you about some things that would answer that question for me. So if you ask me, Senora Miller, ¿Qué te gusta hacer? What do you like to do? I could answer, and I would like you will answer these things next time we're together. So if I were to answer this question, I might say, me gusta pasear con mi perro Isis. Me gusta pasear. I like to walk with my dog. What else? If you ask me again, Senor Miller. Senor Miller, ¿qué te gusta hacer? Me gusta mucho leer. Me gusta mucho leer los libros. Okay? And aquí dice, mi libro favorito es A Wrinkle in Time. Me gusta mucho leer después de la escuela. ¿Qué te gusta hacer, Señor Miller? I have one more answer to this question. I would say, me gusta mucho enseñar el español. Okay? Now, this isn't one of your vocabulary words, but I think that you could probably figure out what it is that I'm trying to say. You guys would say, me gusta aprender el español. I would say, a mí me gusta mucho enseñar el español. Okay, so those are just some answers to the question for me, ¿qué te gusta hacer? Make sure that you're getting this information down in your notes tonight and bringing it with you to class. And if you have any questions, as always, you can just send me an email. Adios y hasta luego.